Hi viewers, today we're going to try and show you how to download a old DOS game from a website like Abandonware and then use a emulator called DosBox to actually run this very old DOS game, so that you can obviously play a classic game for free. Okay, so the website that I'm talking about is called Abandonware. I'm just gonna show you the website. I've got it right here. So I'll probably include a link below. It's myabandonware.com. And I just basically try to download this game called, as an example, I'm going to download a game from 1993. It's called the Terminator Rampage, which is, just as an example. So if you click download, you'll realize there's actually a few files that you can download. There is the ISO version versus a regular version. I think the ISO version is the original CD, so the original copy of the CD, or the original image, the original CD image, and sometimes it's good to download the ISO version because sometimes it has videos and videos that it has that may not be available in the non ISO version. And today we're going to show you how to actually, what do you do with this image, that you just downloaded. So back in the days, I think if you actually did buy this game, or an old DOS game, you would get it in a box, and in the box there will be a CD-ROM. So and then you would have to put the CD-ROM, put the CD into your CD-ROM drive, and you would have to run DOS, and then you would have to install the game, and then you play the game. So we're gonna try and simulate that, right? It's a little tricky when you first try to do it, but it should just work. So let's go to the location where I have the ISO downloaded. So I've downloaded the ISO. I put it in D drive, which is one of my local drives. I go to the folder called Old Games, is where I put my downloaded copy of the ISO. And it's not here because I haven't actually moved it. So let's go to downloads. There it is. So that's the Terminator Rampage ISO file that I just downloaded. So first we're going to try and extract the zip file because it comes as a zip file. And extract. And I'm using Windows 10. So if you're using Mac or an older version of Windows, I think Mac might be a little bit different, but I think the Windows are very, window setup. This should work for Windows XP or Windows 7. But yes, now we have this extracted file. Okay. So let's figure out what's going on here. So we got okay. So this is actually not a proper ISO because it's not really an image. I think we could use we could try another game called June, and I've already downloaded June, and June has a proper ISO file. So how do I know that? Well, because it's got .iso, and it's quite a large file. So this is essentially an image that you would use to clone a CD. Okay, so we're gonna try and do June instead of the Terminator. So I've already got June ready as well. So old games, June, DOS, ISO version. Okay, double check that. Right. So we can open up. So before we open up DosBox, it's actually a good idea to look at the config file. Okay. So what that means is that once you have DosBox installed, again, you have to Google DosBox if you haven't got it. But it looks like this, DosBox. So if you open it, it will give you something like this. And don't worry about this window here. That's probably that's the background process. This screen is where what this is where you interact with your this is the emulated DOS. Okay, now if you open, once you execute this program for the first time, you will be able to it will create a config file for you. Okay, now the reason why we need that config file is because it helps us mount CD-ROM easier. Because if you don't have a, now as you can see here, I've actually inserted a line in the config file to tell it to actually mount the ISO drive, so that you don't have to type it up. Otherwise, you would have to type, something like image img mount D for the emulated drive D, and your actual path, which is D drive / old games, etc. -T ISO. So you could just mount it straight into the DOS prompt here, or you can do it in the config file, which I find it a bit easier. So let's just close this for now. To access the config file, you go to your start menu. Okay, you find the folder, which looks like this, DOSBox. You click on it. There's a bunch of stuff in here. But what you need is to click on options. This is basically a shortcut to your config file. Hit that. Cool. Now you have this options file. You just scroll all the way down to the bottom. And then what you'd have, so your new config file would look like this at the bottom. And then what you'd have is your new config file would look like this. So your new config file would look like this at the bottom. under auto exec, you'd have to basically put in your, you can put in a few lines of code here in order to mount your CD, right? So in this case, we're gonna image mount D. Now this is literally the location, the path location of the ISO. Okay, -t ISO. So if I go back to my Explorer, so that's the ISO. It's literally in this directory, june.iso, and the same applies to this one. Okay, so you mount the ISO, and that's done. Now, the other thing you might want to do is you want to mount another drive called C. Okay. Now the reason why you want to mount C is because if you have once you have the CD mounted, what you would have to do is you might have to install the game. So you could play some games. You might be able to play straight off the CD / emulated CD, but in some cases, then you might need to install the game into C drive, which is C drive, and then you play and you go through that installation, and then you play the game in C drive, and then you'll use the CD-ROM. So just in case, we do want to mount C, and C can be a folder in your computer. So in this case, I'm going to use D drive all games installations. Okay, so this is where my emulated DOS C drive will live. Okay, hope that works. Just double check. Okay, so I'm going to save that. I think that's the right syntax. So let me have a look quickly.
Just like these spills.
Okay, so we're going to try that. We're going to save it. Cool. So now if I rerun DosBox, it should tell me that it has mounted both the CD-ROM, which is D drive, and C drive. Now, if I go to C, there is C, which is nothing in there. If I go to D, this is literally the view of the CD-ROM. Now, if you're not familiar with DOS commands, it's dir to display whatever is in your directory, and and you can just type the file name to run it. So in this case, I'm probably going to run, I do want to run install, because we want to install the game, and it's .exe. Great. So this is the installation for June back in 1993. I guess this is part of the experience, you know, you want to install the old game using the old install process. So every game is different, so you just have to read or follow the instructions. Now, because C is already mapped for me, I know that the installation will occur in the directory that I specified for C. So that's good. So I'm going to start a new installation, so forth. Again, every game is different. So, but for this particular game, they generally ask you where you want to install it. Usually you specify C drive, which is what the virtual drive that you mapped. And that should just be it. And this is just I think that's done. Excellent. So as you can see, the installation has installed June CD. So in order to go into that directory, we hit the command cd June CD again, dir, to see what's going on. And there's a June.bat, which is I think it's just a shortcut to an executable. So this particular game looks like you can just run off the CD, but it's still given us a directory, and it's still given us a link. So anyway, so let's play the game. So June.bat. Hopefully this will work. So now it's loading the CD. Excellent. And it's got like sound. Isn't that great? Now, how do I make it full screen? I guess that's a question for another video. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, see you next time.